Hello, I'm Clint Smith. We're at Thunder Ranch, and this is just a fun video. The video sometimes like this aggravates people because they go like, well, why did you talk about that? Because like, I can't do that. Yeah, I got it, okay. I admit my world's not like everybody else's. I can walk out my back door literally open the back door and don't even go outside. I have a bench in my garage where I can open the window and shoot at 500 yards, and I got it, okay. So I apologize if I'm offending anyone, but that's not my intent. It's truly intended to be fun. So a couple of things to start with. First of all, don't give up on finding cool guns. Literally. There's a lot of people of my generation, I'm 67, I'll be 68 pretty soon. A lot of people of my generation are dying. So when I die, my guns will go back on the market for the most part. There'll be guns that, my guns that will go to my family and stuff, but then there'll be other guns that are sold. So there's cool guns in there, you know what I mean? There'll be stuff that comes up. So if you're younger and stuff like that, or even if you're like, a couple years behind me and you want to find a cool gun, don't give up. And I'll give you an example of why. The other day here, I live in Lake County, Oregon. It's 8,000 square mile county. There's less than 3,000 residents, but we have a thing called KBE. It's basically a motorsports thing, like ATVs and stuff like that. They have a small gun store, and the little girl that runs it is really awesome, Miss Shirley, and she helps people and gets guns in and does stuff and transfers stuff and got a license and all those things. So I always just walk in and talk to her. She's my friend, and now went in the other day and she had some guns literally like laying on the chair and sitting on the floor, and I walked in and I go, yo, Shirley, what's up? And she goes, oh yeah, this guy brought some guns in to sell. And I go, is that right? And you mind if I look? And she said, no, because when I walked in the door, of course, one of the first guns that caught my eye was an M1 Garand. Okay, so old gun, right? Old guy gun, I got it. So I kind of look at the Garand, and she goes, yeah. So I picked the Garand up, and I go, really? What's the guy want for it? She said, I don't know, 800 something, 900 something. I go, is that right? I said, well, I'll buy the gun. And she goes, well, you don't, and I go, it doesn't matter, I'll buy the gun. What was laying on the bench here in Lake County, Oregon, I've seen. This was the fourth one I've seen in 40 years of shooting. This is a Winchester M1 Garand. To the best of my ability, okay, as far as my skill at it, it's a correct gun. It's not a parts gun. It hasn't been chopped, hasn't been hacked. Everything inside is correct. It's got good rifling in it. It's got a nice piece of wood considering what's going on. This gun, been there, done that. It's not a re-import gun. It's not stamped Blue Sky, Blue Chicken, whatever that thing is when they re-import them. So that's a good example of not giving up on finding a really good gun, and just walk in, and just like it had legs, it walked in, and there you go. So Winchester Garand. So I bought the gun, and the next day another guy walked in, and it was sitting there still because I hadn't done the paperwork, and he goes like, oh man, can I buy that gun? I'll give you 1,500 bucks. Nope, she said, I already sold the gun. So there you go. Be there or be square, I think the equation was. So yeah, it's cool. Don't give up on cool guns. So next thing is, this gun was my gun a long time ago in the 70s, and it's kind of a different kind of gun. It's a Commander. They made nickel in that era, and what makes this gun a little bit different is it's a C-Camp. So it's the ultimate answer to the non-existent problem. This gun is double action. So what was weird about it is you can fire the gun in this format. So it's like a Model 39 or a SIG or a Beretta. In other words, you can carry it. Now, of course, what's silly about this gun is if you carry it with the hammer down and you drop it, it's an inertia firing pin, and of course it's a pre-80 gun, so like a 1970 series, so if you drop it on the hammer just right, the damn thing can go off. So it's kind of like whatever. So then people go, okay, so what I'll do is I'll carry the hammer back and the safety on. So then it's single action, so that completely deletes the ideology of having the double action trigger. Okay, so again, the ultimate answer to the non-existent problem. But C-Camp, cool, different thought process. Thinking, people are trying to figure out how to, okay, what's a good way to do that? I want to sort of delete the idea of carrying it cocked and locked, because like, oh God, as a cop carrying a 1911 cocked and locked, I'll tell you, if I had one commentary, I had thousands. People go, oh my God, did you know your gun's cocked? Yes, ma'am. Well, isn't that dangerous? Yes, ma'am. Okay, it's supposed to be dangerous, right? Okay, so funny thing. The next gun is from that era of the 70s. You see them once in a while. They maybe today probably in the $4,000 range, okay? And so you go, oh, that's about the price of a Wilson gun, probably. And what's intriguing is guys like Bill Wilson, who's an awesome guy. I call him my friend, and I think he'd say the same about me. I've had him in class and his family and stuff like that. But he's interested in guns like this. He's the kind of guy that builds awesome guns on his own. And you go, well, why would Bill Wilson collect guns? Because he understands that the guns that he's building come from the lineage of guns like this. This is a Swenson gun. And Swensons were really popular in the 70s, okay? They had what was called an Armalloy finish. They didn't really have Bomar sights, and long before Bomar sights and all the adjustable sights and stuff, Swenson basically took Smith & Wesson sights and put on it so they had adjustable sights for the gun. The reason Swenson rings a bell in your head, you go ding, okay? He made the ambidextrous safeties, the first ones that were really functional. And so like the gun would have a lot of times hammer bite, but it was a gun that you could shoot, and we're starting to do like first sort of combat shooting and the IPSC kind of shooting, and that which led to IDPA. And so it's kind of a foundation gun that came in that era when people were trying to figure out, how we want to shoot the guns and be very accurate. And, it came out of that thing where Mr. Cooper started the Big Bear thing, which of course led to Gunsight, which of course led to the spawning of many other schools and a lot of things, especially like gunsmiths. Guys like Jason Burton, Mr. Magic, okay? He would basically, he would say that probably he learned things from Swenson and Foundation. Again, you don't see them every day. I have good friends that are just wild about them. They collect them, when they can find them, and everybody kind of hustles. And guys, what I would say in the know, they kind of like them. And so they're marked properly. Usually, most people don't have the knowledge to, shall we say, scalp them or try to replicate them. Like it isn't like the Chinese knocking off everything that comes down the road. There's so few of them that most people don't really know what's going on, and they're generally properly marked underneath the stock panels and stuff. But real subtle things. They started just the initial little fun in the mag wells and stuff like that. Square trigger guards, okay. Guys are like hooking them up like this and just doing different things. So they're kind of interesting guns, but interesting. And like I said, you won't find one every day, but cool. The next one, this is an awesome gun. I wanted to own one all my life. This is my gun. It's awesome. This is a Pachmayr Signature. The other version of it was the Pachmayr Combat pistol, Combat Special, right? In the day, there were two versions. The Combat Special, which would be more like the government model, was a straight up, get in there, get a fight on them, used a lot of times, had fixed sights. And then the Signature model in the day would have been more like the Gold Cup. In other words, it was more of a, and if you look at it, it's a pretty unique pistol. It had this attachment that came on that went through, okay, where the slide lock is, and then here in the bottom it's kind of got this funny piece, and people go, what's that? Well, if you look at it, this piece comes off, but what's really cool, I'm going to kind of swing it this way, and Brady's out of the way, so I'm not covering anybody. It has a screw in here, like a Allen head screw, and when you crank down on it, this hood pushes up on the slide. So what they're trying to do is push the slide up at the appropriate time, like to affect lockup, so that the gun is that's always the thing people were after, was to lock the gun up at that last moment when it fires, so that it made it very accurate. So it has kind of this extended bushing. So this was in theory, and in many cases in fact, one of the most accurate pistols of that era. Again, the 70s and early 80s. You don't see a lot of these guns. I have a friend, like a rock and roll guy. He's got a pair of these in Commanders that he bought right out of the store. Walked in there one day when he was on tour doing rock and roll music, and they had a pair of Commanders that somebody had backed out on. He bought both those things, and I had those for a while and was shooting them in awesome guns, okay? But this one is mine, okay? Like, when I found the gun, I gave it to Jason Burton and Mr. Magic himself. He went through the gun and checked it and did everything, and I've got it. Eric Little from Combat Leather, he basically made me a holster for it, both inside and outside. I carry this bitch, I shoot it, and it's like a laser beam. It's a cool gun. I don't carry it every day, but it's sort of a nice gun to have, and pretty unique pistol. And again, you don't find these every day, and I'm not being a dick about it. It's just a piece of history and kind of a unique pistol. And so again, right in there, this is my everyday carry pistol. I literally took it out out of my holster and unloaded it so we could do this. This is Mr. Magic's pistol, and I keep making fun of it a little bit, but I'm not. There's a new pistol magazine, or kind of a, I don't know, I wouldn't even say it's a high-end magazine, but a lot of really cool things in it. It's called Skill Set. The owner's a girl, of all things, okay? But I don't mean that in an ugly way. Because of what's in it, you wouldn't think so, but it's kind of a gun-oriented. It's got girl thing, and I think there's a cool article in there about one of the top girl shooters from Glock. But the reason I say Mr. Magic is they put an article in there about Burton and his guns, and about him building high-end 1911s, which I got it. Not everybody likes 1911s, okay? Matt Best, okay, I got it, Glock guy. James Yeager, I got it, Glock guy, okay? I got it. So I give you guys, I got it, okay? Old guy, I still like him, and without a doubt, with no disrespect intended or implied, I've owned a lot of 1911s. You know, I showed you the Packmeyer, it's a cool gun, but when I reach in the safe and we get down to where there's going to be ass deep and used grenade rings, this is the bitch I pick up, okay? It's a smoking ass gun. It's probably, okay, the best 1911 I've ever owned. And like I said, if we're gonna go ass deep and use grenade rings, this is the one. They're not cheap, you gotta wait for them a while, but like a lot of things in life that are really awesome, you gotta wait for them a while. Brady, they just had their first baby, Miss Carter sale, and they had to wait 9 months, and it came out an awesome little bundle of joy, okay? Little bright twinkly eyes, okay? So it's sort of the same thing. Good things sometimes take a while. Gotta put them in there and they gotta cook for a while. This was intended, like I said, if you look at this, there were some awesome things in there. Oh, by the way, they don't know I put this in there. They might not even like me telling you about this magazine, but it has some cool stuff in it, and I'm not a magazine guy, and I don't buy stuff or sell stuff, and I can't sell you a Packmeyer because I don't got one. Mr. Swenson's not around no more, okay? I don't even know about this thing, okay? And I probably wouldn't buy one if I could. Burton's backed up 2 years, so yeah, there you go. And they don't make Grams no more by Winchester, so I'm not selling you nothing. Just showing you a little bit of history, and like I said, the video is supposed to be fun, just give you a little bit of history and some stuff, and just like fun stuff, and pretty soon I'm probably dying, so like you can check in with Heidi and see if you can get some of this stuff, but other than that, it's cool. And I appreciate your time, and hopefully it was just something fun for you to see that you don't get to see every day. I've heard of things like 7x7 elks, but you can go your whole life and never see one, and sort of like a mountain lion, everybody talks about them. I got a dead deer laying in the road down there, I'm pretty sure killed by a lion with its throat ripped out, but I didn't see the lion. So they're around, but I don't see them very often. They're around, but I don't see them very often. They're around, but you got to wait to see them, okay? So same thing. So thank you for your time. Hope we didn't bore you to death. Appreciate it, and I'll try to make the next one have something with a flaming Buddhist monk or something in Saigon. Thanks a lot.